Yo, check out my guy. He about to show you how he got paid 3 ways from one deal that he never seen.
Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? It's Jamel Gibbs, your family-oriented entrepreneur. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. First off, I want to thank my man Nas for inviting me on his channel to be able to provide you with this content. I hope that you're able to benefit from this information. Now, look, if you're on Nas's channel, chances are you know exactly what wholesaling real estate is. And if you're not familiar with it, let me give you a brief understanding of how wholesaling actually works. Basically, wholesaling is the act of contracting a property at a discounted price with the intent of selling that contract for a small profit. So, for example, if you are looking for houses in a neighborhood where homes are going for $100,000, if they were completely fixed up, what you're looking to do is look for distressed real estate that you can get under contract at a deep discount. In this case, let's just say $50,000. So you're able to contract the property at half of the value if the property was in tip-top shape. Then what you're going to look to do is sell your contract for a profit. Minimum $10,000. Obviously, you can go lower than 10 grand or you can make more than $10,000. But on average, industry average would be right around $10,000 per house, right? And again, this is going to be on a market-to-market basis. So let's just say that you contract the property for $50,000 and you sell that contract for $60,000. You make a profit on that contract of $10,000 that you're able to take home. That's exactly what wholesaling is. You never own the house. You don't need any money. You don't need any credit to do this. All you have to do is be a great marketer and know how to negotiate with sellers in order to be able to get a deep enough discount so that you can make a profit on a house. All right. Now, wholesaling is great, but the problem that I have with wholesaling is you're only as good as your last deal. And basically what that means is you have to keep hustling in order to be able to make money as a wholesaler. It's hard to turn it into a real business unless you replace yourself with virtual assistants and an entire team. And even still, you have to keep hustling for deals. So I love to use wholesaling to bring in capital, but in addition to wholesaling, there's other ways to make money in real estate as well. You can become rich through wholesaling, but wealthy through passive income. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with passive income investing, in a nutshell, when you invest passively, what you're doing is you're investing a certain amount of time or money in order to receive a return on your investment without your personal efforts. So when you think about passive income, think rental real estate. It pays you not only once, but it pays you over and over and over again as long as you own the asset. All right. And one of the best ways, in my opinion, to couple with wholesaling in order to create passive income is through owning rental real estate. So how can you take a real estate investment strategy that's just as good, if not easier, than wholesaling real estate and be able to create money up front, money every month, and money on the back end as a real estate investor? Well, there's one simple strategy of 4 that I share in my hybrid wholesaling playlist. If you check out my YouTube page, just go under hybrid wholesaling or creative finance, creative real estate investing playlist. You'll be able to see exactly what I'm going to talk about today. But the one strategy that I think works really well, which is one of the 4 strategies that I share as under my hybrid wholesaling method, is lease option investing. Now, for those of you who don't understand what lease option investing is, it's basically like renting a house from a landlord with the ability to sublease a property to someone else. So what you're doing is you're controlling the real estate versus owning. So you don't get the benefits of owning real estate as you would with, let's say, seller financing, for example, where you can write off certain things on the property. You get the tax benefits, you get the depreciation, appreciation, and things like that. But you get to control the property, same way you would if you were to control a house under contract in order to be able to wholesale that property. When you sign a contract on a house to wholesale, what you're doing is you're controlling the contract and you're looking to sell your control in the contract to somebody else. With a lease option, what you're doing is you're controlling a property where you don't have to take on any debt under your personal name because you're not going out to a bank to get a loan. You don't have to make any repairs unless you pre-negotiate that with your seller. You don't have to come up with huge down payments or anything like that. You're simply negotiating a win-win situation between you and the seller that you're dealing with, the landlord that you're dealing with. What you're ultimately looking to do is create a situation that allows you to control the property, remove all of the headaches from the seller, and then go ahead and sublease that property to someone who wants to eventually own it, which is considered to be a tenant buyer on the other end. So imagine a situation where you meet a seller, you meet a landlord who owns rental properties, but he's sick and tired of being a landlord, doesn't want to fix toilets anymore, doesn't want to deal with tenants anymore. And you go to this landlord and you say, hey, I want to go ahead and lease this property from you, but in turn, I'm going to go ahead and sublease it to somebody else. Okay? You go ahead and you sign an agreement with this particular landlord for a certain amount every month, and then you go ahead and you start marketing that property to tenant buyers who will then go ahead and take over the lease, and you can do what's called a sandwich lease. You can wholesale these leases over, or you can simply do a straight lease option. All right, there's some differences between the three, and if you want more information on how a sandwich lease, a straight lease option, or a wholesale lease option works, be sure to check out the Creative Real Estate Investing playlist on my YouTube page. I talk in full detail on how lease options work, lease options basics, and things like that in order to help you get a clear understanding of how you can do the same exact thing. So let me give you a real life example of one lease option that we've done where we made a tremendous amount of money on a house that we simply took over. So we have this house here in a different state. This was done virtually. The seller wanted $98,000 for the lease. We went ahead and signed a lease agreement with the option to purchase it for $98,000. Right? We went ahead and we negotiated a predetermined payment for $750 a month on the lease with $5,000 up front. Once we had the lease agreement signed with the seller, we had a $750 payment. We asked the seller for a certain amount of time. We delayed the down payment until we were able to find our own tenant buyer, and the seller agreed to do that. So then we went ahead, we told the seller that they don't need to make any repairs on the property or anything like that. The property did need some light repair, but when we sold the property on the other end, we marketed in such a way that the buyer understood that the house would need some work, and we also asked for 10% down of $112,000. Okay, so we found a buyer who was he wasn't able to put down the 10%, but he was able to put down $10,000. So it wasn't a full 10%. 10% would have been close to 12 grand. So we took the $10,000 from the buyer. We went ahead and took 5 of that and gave it to the seller. So now the seller is squared away with their down payment, and we were able to put $5,000 in our pocket up front. Our pre-negotiated payment with the seller was $750. All we did was charge $1,000 a month to the buyer. So we pocket $250 every month as long as we're under this agreement with the buyer before they exercise their option. Now, with that being said, the buyer a couple months ago, unfortunately, the buyer passed away. He was in a car accident, and because he was in a car accident, the contract became null and void. It did hold us accountable to the monthly payment with the seller, but all we did was let the seller know what was going on. We said, look, we came across a situation where the buyer, our tenant buyer passed away. Couldn't we extend our agreement for further payments out until we find another tenant buyer? Our landlord agreed to it. All we did was ask for it. We negotiated with him in order to be able to make that happen. Then what we did was we went ahead and found someone who, rather than us finding a regular lease purchase buyer, we went ahead and put the property on the market. Now, in most cases, you can't list a house on the market if you don't own it, but the real estate company that we're dealing with, in order for us to be able to get the property on the MLS, we had to get an agreement signed with the seller. The seller had to go on the listing agreement with us, and then we also had to have a separate agreement signed in order to be able to make that work. So we signed these agreements, we were able to list the property on the market, and lo and behold, the value of the property went up from $112,000, where we were able to find a buyer for it for $135,000. So in a few weeks, we're going to be closing out on this particular deal. We collected over a year's worth of income at $250 a month. We collected $5,000 up front on this property. Then when we sell on the back end, we still owe the $98,000 to our landlord seller, but we're going to go ahead and profit the difference between the $135,000 and the $98,000, less the realtor fees and closing costs that we do inquire, which is going to be about $8,000. So we're going to make an additional $25,000, $26,000 or so on this property, in addition to the $250 a month that we collected for close to 14 months, and the $5,000 that we made up front, which is ultimately going to leave us with a nice profit on this property, where we only took control of it. We never owned the property, never had to use any cash or credit or anything like that. We made money up front, we make money every month, and we're gonna make a nice back-end check as well. This is the beautiful part of creative finance, in addition to wholesaling real estate. Wholesaling will pay you one time, but when you start thinking passively, you start thinking creatively with your real estate business, you can create multiple checks that will pay you over and over and over again. And the more properties you do this with, the more money you receive every single month. And obviously, that will allow your business to stay liquid and continue to grow as you continue on in your real estate investing journey. So I know this was a mouthful. I know this was a lot to talk about on this video. I really just wanted to paint the picture for you so you can understand that there's other ways of making money outside of wholesaling. I do wholesaling. I also do creative real estate investing. I also do buy and hold, regular buy and hold real estate investing. I also do multi-units and all kinds of other real estate investing. We invest in land, we wholesale land, same as NASA does as well. So I hope that you guys were able to benefit from this. If you want more information on how this actually works in real time, I have over 400 videos on my YouTube channel that I think you can benefit from. Be sure to check me out at Jamel Gibbs on YouTube. Be sure to check out my playlist. And make sure you watch the first video on my YouTube page where I talk about do this first. I'm going to explain what you need to do step by step. The first 4 things you need to do if you're just getting started investing in real estate. I have other videos on creative finance. Again, check out the playlist, and I hope to see you guys on my channel pretty soon. See you then. Peace.